We got some huge news for Canadian UFC fight fans. Paramount has expanded their partnership to Canada. So what this means is now Canadians do not have to pay for numbered events. I did a video on this earlier in the year because when the Paramount deal was announced last year, a lot of Canadians just assumed that they could go sign up for a Paramount account and they would get to watch all the events as part of their subscription. But because of the deal that the UFC has had with Sportsnet and other streaming platforms here in Canada, that wasn't the case. So people here in Canada, like myself, have been paying for all the numbered events since the beginning of the year. And you can see here in the press release, it says that Paramount and the UFC have expanded their partnership to Canada beginning in 2027. It's a 6-year deal that delivers all numbered events, main cards exclusively to Paramount subscribers nationwide. So we'll check out the press release here a little bit, a couple key details in here. It said they expanded their media rights. Numbered events, traditionally known as pay-per-views, typically feature championship bouts on main cards and showcase UFC's biggest stars. This new partnership with Paramount will provide UFC fans across Canada. Sorry, I'm going to try and move the screen thing a little bit here so you guys can see it. There we go. Better in the press release there. It said, so the quote here is, beginning in 2027, Paramount subscribers in Canada will get every UFC numbered event main card live at no additional cost, said UFC President Dana White. Paramount has been an incredible partner that understands the power of the UFC, and together we're going to make it easier than ever for fans in Canada to watch the biggest fights in the sport. I love Canada. I'm very excited for the fans to be able to enjoy the Paramount experience. Then there's just one from this other guy, Rodrigo Mazon, saying UFC is the most dynamic sports. Detailed on first UFC events to stream live on Paramount in Canada will be announced later this year. The debut of the UFC on Paramount in the US and Latin America earlier this year was the biggest exclusive live event in history. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, so a couple things about this. First off, thank you. A lot of people have been complaining, and I talked about this at the beginning of the year because a lot of Canadians didn't know about this. Like, Sportsnet never put anything out. The UFC never put anything out. When the Paramount deal kicked in earlier this year, Canadians, a lot of people I know, hit me up and were like, hey, what's going on with Paramount? And people didn't know that you had to still pay for the pay-per-views. Like, for me personally, when it comes to watching all the numbered events, I would use a UFC Fight Pass, and I still do. That's how I'm able to go, watch all the events, and you still got to pay the $75, $80 or whatever it is. Now I have to do it for work, so it doesn't matter. And I know there's going to be people in the comments being like, use a streaming site. Like, I don't want to use a streaming site because I don't want the stream to crash out. So, and I can write it off for my taxes. So I have been buying all the pay-per-views, continued to buy them since the beginning of this year. This is great that this sort of takes away this. Now, the one thing they didn't say in this press release, and I'm curious about this, is what's going on with Sportsnet. So as you guys know, a couple of years back, Sportsnet acquired the UFC rights here in Canada. They air all the UFC events right now. There's no mention of Sportsnet in this press release because it just says here that the main cards exclusive, all UFC numbered event main cards exclusively to Paramount Plus subscribers. Now, what about like fight night events? What about other cards that they have? What about like Contender Series and all that? Like that they don't talk about in here. Is that still going to be on Sportsnet, or is the Sportsnet deal done? I'm sure we'll get some information on that coming up. Aaron Bronstetter does a great job for Sportsnet here in Canada. I'm sure he'll have some news on this. But that's the one thing I wonder about is the UFC getting off Sportsnet. Now, personally, just as an actual viewer, I think everything should be on Paramount. That way it's in one spot. You don't have to flip channels to see one, portion of the card and watch the other. I would hope that's the case. Even though Sportsnet, most people have in their cable package, although I think most people have Paramount as well. I guess this would be the streaming side of things, so it's not just traditional Paramount. But yeah, we'll have to see how this all unfolds. The other thing they don't mention is the price. I'm trying to look what it is in the US here. So price for a Paramount Plus subscription, $7.99 a month in the US. Is it going to be, I would imagine that's going to be more expensive in Canada if you do the conversion and all that, right? So you would think it's going to be a little bit more, but we'll see. And we'll have to see, how that, like what you get with that. Because again, everything's different. Like, even if you sign up for a Paramount account in Canada, you're not going to get the same content that you would get in the US, I wouldn't think, because there's like territorial rights. Like it's a little bit different for every region. It's no different than if I go to the US and I log into my Netflix account, there's certain shows and movies that I can't watch because they're only exclusive to Canada. Like if I go, like I said, if I'm going to Vegas and I'm logging into my Netflix account, I'm not going to get the same content because it's all based off per region. So I wonder about that too. Like what type of library are you going to get with Paramount? What's happening with Fight Pass in Canada? I wonder about that too. Are we still going to have access to that? What's happening there? So this is kind of like a ripple effect. And again, they're announcing this here, in June, and we got to wait all till 2027. So we still got to pay for the pay-per-views the rest of the year, but at least they've gotten in front of this. And I felt like this was something that should have been done when the Paramount deal was coming to fruition at the end of last year. So again, I'm happy not to have to pay for the numbered events. It's expensive as it is. I imagine the UFC is going to go to Canada at least one more time this year. There's some rumblings they might be going to Edmonton. We'll see. That's a destination they've been before. Of course, they've gone to Vancouver a bunch of times, including last year. So we'll see what's going on with the UFC in Canada. But anyways, this is just great news. I know most Americans watching this don't care, but for Canadians, it's a huge deal to get, to not have to pay for the pay-per-views and all that. And I know, again, there's some people as well, even on my last video, they're like, we'll just get a VPN and do that. It's not that easy. It's not that easy to get a VPN, because you have to remember, you have to get a VPN to sign up for a Paramount account. And then you would have to log into the account here with your VPN and then try and stream. And I don't know, it just seems too complicated. This makes things a lot easier for someone like myself if I want to watch these events, just having it actually like legit in here and all that. So yeah. So again, very big news in the streaming world. The UFC will be expanding to Paramount in Canada. Because I think like right now, if you're going to go to Paramount and you're going to watch like Paramount, the channel or whatever, at the same time the UFC's on, they're going to have like something else airing, right? So it's a little bit different. But yeah. And then obviously, we'll see, we got Contender Series coming up. We'll see how many Canadians are going to be on that show. You imagine with this new deal as well, the UFC might be looking at bringing in some more Canadians as well. That would be good. They do about 2 events a year, which isn't huge for them. I would actually like to see that increased a little bit more. I mean, there was back when George St. Pierre was fighting, we used to get events far more frequently than just twice a year. So I'd like to see that happen a little bit more. Again, there's a huge fan base here. I think pretty much every event they have here sells out. So I think this is all a step in the right direction. And like I said, there's not much more information other than 6-year deal. Because that's the thing with the Sportsnet deal. I tried reaching out and finding out like how long the deal was, and it was a couple years back. I want to say they signed it. You know what? Probably better actually check it right now. Sportsnet signs UFC rights. When did that happen? That was in 2023. So by the end of this year, we're coming up to 2026. So it'll be about 3 years that Sportsnet deal's kicked in. If I had to guess, I would say 4-year deal. So yeah, we'll see. Again, the big question I have right now, I mean, this is all great and super happy about it, but the big question I have is what's going on with Sportsnet? Like, are they going to continue to, be airing UFC content beyond 2027, obviously, because they obviously, still have everything up until then. And if they are off, if the UFC is getting off Sportsnet in Canada, then it's kind of awkward that they're announcing this now, although I'm happy about it. At least, Canadians have something to look forward to. So I'm looking forward to getting a Paramount subscription, because all these people are like, what do you think of the new Paramount, broadcast and all this different stuff? And it's like, we can't watch it here. Like, we watch like I said, I watch all the numbered events on Fight Pass. That's how I order it. I think there's a couple other ways you can do it. You can go through Sportsnet. You can go through, I think, traditional pay-per-view on your cable. There's a few different ways you can get the pay-per-views, but now it'll be easier just to go through Paramount. So if you're Canadian, let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is long overdue. I think a lot of people are happy to see this. It's just about getting with the times, and I think it was basically unfair to a lot of Canadian fight fans having to pay the $75, $80 for a pay-per-view, especially with some of them this year not being that good. So let me know your thoughts on this. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.